to the morning show.
Yeah.
The Big Show with Glenn and Angel on Kiss 92.
Good morning.
Sometimes getting out of bed in the morning is a lot to deal with all at once.
Not if we sing you a song. Hi ho, hi ho, it's off to work we go.
Okay.
All right, it is Happy at Work Thursday. We've got Adrian Choo as well as myself, Angel, and your bro Tim. Oh, good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday to all our listeners out there.
Yeah.
I like to call it Tahan Thursday because you only got Tahan one more day, then it's the weekend, baby.
Think positively. One more sleep to the weekend. That's all it takes.
One more sleep. You know, I never really appreciated weekends and public holidays as much until I started work. You know, when you're in school, when you're in university, it's like, weekends are here. But when you start work, it's like you count down the number of days to the next public holiday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Which is when?
I think it's National Day.
Yeah. I will say though, as a parent though, I am not looking forward to next school holidays because now I'm beginning to learn. Right, school holidays means a lot of pressure to have to keep the kids occupied.
But also the weekends, right? Because every time I remember you come in on Mondays and we're like, how was your weekend? And you're like, oh my gosh,
I feel more tired after the weekend than I do on the weekdays.
That is true, especially for those over-involved parents who have to ferry their kids around.
Timo.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it's like taekwondo, then to music class, then
Chinese
to,
enrichment.
But who signed them up for these classes?
Yeah, exactly.
The parents
It's a sacrifice we
did.
make for their future. We will make that noble sacrifice. Thank you.
Self-infliction.
Kiasu. But if as long as I always believe, as long as the kid likes it, I think it's great.
As long as the kid likes it. Did you like going to tuition when you were young?
Okay, except for tuition. I mean, it's like I've seen my friends' kids being pushed all the way to do piano and then
Violin, everything else,
everything else all in one go, and
Yeah.
ballet and everything, and then. You can tell that they don't like it, but they're being forced to do it. So I think that is really painful. To watch the kids suffer. I mean, it's exhausting.
This is not parental advice by any stretch, but one of my buddies did tell me, the trick, bro, is to make life at home as boring as possible. So they can't wait to get out of the house to go for all these activities.
How do you make it boring though?
Turn off the Wi-Fi.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so today we're not talking about parenting, but we are talking about young leaders. 5 mistakes that young leaders make. When you say young, how young are we talking?
Well, I'm not talking about in terms of age, but in terms of experience.
Oh, right. Okay.
So when you have individuals who have just got promoted recently or have just been given a bigger portfolio and or just moving into a management role where they are managing people.
Okay.
A lot of times when you're not used to managing people or when you're not used to the enhanced portfolio, you tend to make a few mistakes. So like last month, I was talking to one of my clients who just got promoted, everything she really wanted. But unfortunately, her boss told her, you're fumbling the ball, you're dropping the ball. And we did a deep dive. And we came up with certain areas where she could improve on. And today I wanted to share some of those ideas with our listeners.
Okay, so let's continue that conversation on The Big Show TV right now. Here's SZA and Kendrick Lamar with 30 for 30 on Kiss 92.
Okay. Now, before we go into the mistakes that young leaders make, there is a fair amount of apprehension, I feel, especially with a lot of people when it comes to taking on a management role, because now they're not just responsible for themselves and their own work, but also for other people as well, right? Yeah. So what are some of the fears that you are familiar with about somebody moving on to that kind of role and that responsibility?
And that's interesting, because for women, I think one of their biggest concerns is imposter syndrome.
What?
Which is
Imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome.
Because they feel that I'm not ready for it yet, so they have a lot of self-doubt. This is empirically proven.
They're actually good at it, but they don't think they can do it.
Yeah.
That's imposter
The
syndrome.
reverse is opposite for
guys.
reverse is true for guys.
Everything I'm good at, Ken.
Yeah, give it to me. It's like let me try it.
Ego.
Ego. It's a caveman thing. It's like, I'm sure that mammoth looks small enough.
Yeah.
It's like so. Let's just go slay it barehanded. But I think one of the things is self-doubt. And if you worry about it too much, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think you really have to believe it. If your bosses trust you enough to give you that promotion or that role,
you are good enough.
I think you're good enough. Because
more so,
Yeah, because every promotion, as far as senior management is concerned, every promotion is a risk to them.
Yes.
And why would they put you in something if they didn't think you could
You're
do
not
it,
going to
right?
set you up for failure.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. But the risk also goes both ways as well, because from somebody, that whole scared to fail thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you give me the ball. If I fumble the ball, I drop the ball, then I lose face. All right. So I rather not take that responsibility and not be put in that position to begin with.
So that's why I think if you're offered a promotion and if it's within your career strategy, this promotion makes sense and I want to do it, then by all means go ahead and do it. Put all your chips in and play the game.
But what if it doesn't make sense? Can you turn it down?
You can.
Okay.
So, for instance, another client of mine was given. So he is so good at what he does. He's known as the problem solver.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, he solves really complex problems. No, he takes on portfolios that are really messy. He fixes it up. But the problem is, he became known as the fix-it guy, the go-to guy, and the projects they keep giving him are getting more and more complicated, to the point where he was given one project, which is what he called the poison chalice. You drink and you die.
Oh.
It's definitely not fixable. The last 3 people there tried it, died, and he looked at it and he said, "No, this is bad." Like what we were saying earlier, if you're good at something, sometimes even if you don't like it,
Yes.
you get more of it. because
Yeah,
you're good at it. The reward for
Good work
is more work. Yeah, that's unfortunate, right?
So please always fly under the radar.
So would that be your first tip is do not take up the promotion if you are not ready for it?
If it's not strategic, okay. So if a promotion brings you all the way to some godforsaken place in wherever it is, in Kazakhstan or wherever it is, and you don't want to go there, then don't. Or if you know that this product range is going to die out already and they're going to give it to you,
No
then
growth.
no growth, don't do it. So it has to be within your career strategy.
Okay.
But if it is within your career strategy and you've figured that that's a move I want to make, then by all means go in 100%, 150%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Some good tips there.
Okay. So you also mentioned that, you're talking to this girl, and she took on a promotion and she kind of dropped the ball. The boss has said that she dropped the ball.
Yeah.
What reasons, how did the boss give them examples? Okay, you're not doing a good job because of this.
Yeah. So what was interesting was she was really ambitious. So she had no imposter syndrome because she knew she was good.
Okay.
The problem was that she took on too much. She bit off more than she could chew. So besides doing the job which she was asked to do, she took on 2 or 3 different projects, which she thought was really good for the company. She had this great idea to implement this new IT system, and she started doing too many things at one go.
So she spread herself too thin.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So one of the things is taking on too many projects at one go, and it's not just about losing focus. It makes you look messy.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no direction. Why are you doing 5-6 different things at one go? Or even doing it too early.
Too early.
Like for instance, if you're given a portfolio, the first 6 months you focus on that portfolio, get used to it and everything. Don't get too adventurous. I want to do this massive change here. I want to do that massive change over there.
But you got something to prove, right? You immediately given a position of power, right?
Yeah.
You want to make your bosses feel that they made a good choice in you as well.
Yeah.
But I suppose also you don't want to set the benchmark too high, because from there, where do you go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you start doing everything and then they just
Correct.
expect more from you,
So
right?
it's all about focus. And one of my favorite sayings I read quite recently was, it's been attributed to Confucius, but everything
Confucius
say, a man who chases 2 cats catches none. I don't know what it is.
okay.
Doesn't make
Okay,
sense.
I
Why you wanna
understand.
chase- why you chase a cat? You can't
Could be put to chickens as well.
Or
Bird in the
rabbits.
hand
Or
is
rabbits.
worth more than 2 in the bush. Okay.
Chang.
We need a gong.
All right. So would you say the old adage is true that it's better to do one thing and do one
Really
thing
well.
Yeah.
than 3 things mediocrely?
Yeah, because you'll be judged on the in the mediocrity of the results. It's very average, and then you go like, okay. Or worse still, you do 2 things well, but the third thing fails spectacularly.
Oh, then you only be remembered for the failure, right? Because human nature like that, right?
Only the bad stuff.
Yeah, only the bad stuff, right? So that's where the challenge comes in.
Okay.
You need to focus. Don't take on too many things at one go. And if you do not know what to focus on, Just ask the boss, what do you want me to focus on?
Okay.
Because always remember, you're there to make the boss's job easier. You're there to make him look good.
Right.
You're there to support him. No matter what it is, it's always about the boss and the business.
Okay. So where else did this particular lady fail, or where else do many young leaders fail?
I think not getting clarity from the bosses, like what I said earlier as well. Sometimes you think that you know what's good for the business, but oftentimes it's something else.
And it may not be part of the big picture that a company has as well, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go for traffic in a little bit. So if you're just joining us now, we're talking with Adrian Choo of Career Agility. If you have any questions for him, you can always email it through to info@careeragility.org, or you can key it in on our Facebook, our YouTube, drop us a WhatsApp at 8855509020, talking about 5 mistakes young leaders make. And when you say young, it means young in terms of experiences. New leaders, basically,
New leaders.
right? Okay, we're going to go to traffic and then we'll continue the conversation.
You wanna till the morning. Now you're in my life. I can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. Talking, can't get you off my mind. Won't even try. Talking, can't get you off from all this late night talking.
Kiss 92 traffic.
On Brattle Road towards Lorne, heavy traffic between Topayo and Bishan flyover. AYE towards MCE, slow between Clementi Avenue 2 and Bonavista. ECP towards the city, vehicle breakdown after Fort Road. Upper Bukit Timah towards the city, heavy traffic after Hillview Road. And on the TPE towards the SLE, heavy traffic at Tampines Avenue 7.
It is Happy at Work Thursday. We've got Adrian Choo from Career Agility International, and we're talking about 5 mistakes young leaders make. Now, earlier we spoke about how some new leaders, we say young leaders meaning those that have just been promoted to that position, we spoke about taking on too much. So now we move on to the second point of being a pushover or not being a pushover.
Yeah. So one of the common mistakes when someone gets into a new position of authority or leadership is that they try to be a nice guy.
Okay.
They don't want to step on people's toes. So when people come to them, can you do this? Can you do that? For me, especially if it's fellow peers,
Yes.
leaders of other teams who are trying to get stuff out of you, and you got to learn how to say no. I mean, sometimes it becomes almost like the scene from The Godfather. on this is my daughter's wedding, and then
Yes.
there's a long queue of people outside
Okay.
asking.
Now, before we carry on to not how to be a pushover, I just want to establish when it comes to becoming to being accommodating, or rather too accommodating.
Yeah.
Are you referring to your peers, your higher management who is asking you to do stuff, or are you talking about being accommodating to the team below you who are supporting you? Because you also want to be a good boss and a good manager too, right? You're going to be depending on them. So,
Yeah.
what when you mean too accommodating, not to be a pushover, to who? In which
I think
direction?
in all directions.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful, because sometimes you want to be the leader that's loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think a leader needs to be loved. I think a leader needs to be effective.
You don't need to be walked all over to be loved, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I don't think, some people say, I want to be a leader that's loved. Don't need to be a leader. You need to be a leader that's effective, because a leader that's loved but not effective, you're out of a job,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
does love not sometimes add to your efficiency too?
Well, if
Tough
love
love.
is your tough love. If love is your primary driver, then you want to become Mr. Popular.
Yep.
You become totally ineffective.
Right.
Totally ineffective, because then when it comes to the hard decisions, you can't make it because you're afraid that some people may not like you, may not love you. So I don't like the idea of being loved as a leader. I mean, if your genuine self is good, and if you protect your staff and everything, I think naturally they'll come to love you.
Kind but firm.
Kind but firm.
Yeah.
So, for your staff, for your peers, sometimes they have a hidden agenda. So they ask you to do things which they try and get off their plate.
In other words, they're trying to sabo you.
So you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in your quest to be the nice guy, you say, okay, for sure, take it on. And I've got a fun story after to share with you guys.
Oh, okay.
Every
great.
time I hear the word pushover, I think of those boxing balloons. You know, you know the ones
yeah,
where you
you
box
push
and
and
they
then you
come back
again.
up, right? Yeah, be
Alright.
one of those.
But it is, I mean, it's a very thin line, right? Because on one hand, yes, you don't want to be a pushover, but at the same time, you don't want to be insufferable. You don't want to be difficult because now you got reputation to uphold as well,
Yeah.
right? When you are, I'm too firm. I want to be firm, but am I too firm?
Pliable?
Am I not being
Can you
direct?
be? Can you be pliable?
No, I think you choose your battles.
Yeah.
You choose your battles to know what's good, what's not. And I think that comes with a lot of wisdom. And once again, if you're stuck or if you don't have no idea who to listen to or who not to listen to, general rule of thumb, the boss.
Confucius. Oh,
the
okay.
boss.
I was going to say, like, is there a magic number where I say yes 2 times and I say no 1 time?
I didn't check with the boss.
People will begin to see the pattern, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's continue the conversation with Adrian on The Big Show TV, YouTube, and Facebook. The time right now is 8:22.
Kiss 92 Time Check by
You had a story.
Yeah, so there was this guy. He just joined a new team. And he went around the first week meeting up of all his peers and as part of orientation. So he went around, he met his other department, which is not his, the boss of the other department. And he was talking to the boss of the other department, and the boss of the other department said, "No, oh, I saw in your background that you actually have a tax management background." He said, "Yeah." So actually, our department actually could use some help on that area. Could you do it? Mr. Nice Guy, right? Pushover, not pushover.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. No, okay, fine. And in the first week, even before he started on, right, he got a little assignment. Work needs to be done by the other department.
Yeah.
And nice guy,
Did the work.
did the work.
Yeah.
When his boss found out, his boss said, "Do you know how much I hate the department?"
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I hired you to work for me, not work for him. Why are you working for him?
So you get caught
He
up.
got caught
in
out, he
the-
got chewed out. He
Yeah.
said, "No, why you want to join? You go join his department." His boss took it such.
So personally.
And it turns out drama. The other department boss knew it. Just wanted to sow discord between the two of them.
Oh, right. He did it on purpose.
Yeah. So yeah.
So would you say one of the mistake in this particular case was not being aware or educated about the internal politics
Yeah, correct.
of this
But
organization?
you're not to know because no one's going to share, especially if you're new, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's why check with your boss. You know, especially if it's your time.
So what would you say if he was approached, right, by that other department guy and he didn't have time to say yes or no? What would he say?
So I'll look into it. Yeah, I could help if you
And
need
let me
help.
get back to you.
Let me get to you. Yeah. Let me clear my boss first. Yeah, because I need to see how much bandwidth I have.
Okay.
Yeah. so-
Okay.
But if you need any help, you can always drop me an email. I'm happy to sort
Yeah, let's
things
make it
out for you.
official.
Yeah.
Put it down in
Yes,
words.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I can understand how pissed off the boss would be. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, suddenly now you kind of betrayed me.
No, on top of that, right, especially if you're taking on other departments' work, right? And then as a result, your own department's work
Yeah.
suffers
Yeah,
as a
correct.
result. And then, it's basically you go and do other people's job for what? You can't even focus on your own stuff.
Correct, right? And then if you do the other person's job well,
They get the credit.
They're not going to say that so and so from the other department did
can't.
this.
They
Yeah.
can't. So you have to be very wise. You need to know when to push back. Say things like, "Okay, that sounds like a great idea, but let me clear it. Let me clear it with my boss. Let me check my management. Let me check my bandwidth.
Let me check
get back
my
to
schedule.
you. Let me
Yeah.
don't call me.
I'll
call
have my
you.
people call your people.
Yes.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
But
So-
not everyone has the guts to even say,
Yes,
let me
yes.
get back to you. A lot of them would just be like, because this person is of high authority, right?
Yeah.
It just be like, oh, okay, I think this would
And
be
I'm
within my
new.
scope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you say no?
So there is a certain level of wisdom involved. Being smart about it.
Some people also don't have
Yeah,
the
unfortunately.
wisdom.
So I was once told. So what client once told me, that I have a lot of wisdom when it comes to stuff like that. And I said, yeah, wisdom comes from making mistakes, lots of mistakes,
Yeah.
screwing up all the time, And I've been there, I've done that. So I can read the tea leaves, the signs when someone does that for you.
So Johnny has come on our Facebook and he's like, good morning, where is Glenn Ong? Glenn will be back on Monday. Glenn is currently in Malaysia with BYD on a road trip. Obviously, Johnny only watches on Thursdays. Because, it's been Tim O for
Last 2
9
weeks.
days. Yeah.
All right. So, other reasons, other holes, I suppose, new leaders fall in when they first assume the position.
I think not delegating.
Not delegating.
Not delegating. I mean,
Okay.
you're put in
Resources
charge
now.
of a team, resources, people around who can help you do better.
Yeah.
But the transition from individual contributor to team leader does take a bit of time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't trust them, you want to micromanage things, or you want to do everything by yourself, and you have to realize that you can't scale your productivity if you're doing everything by yourself.
Yeah.
The reason why you have a team is so that you can leverage on them.
How do you know what to delegate, though? You can't exactly delegate everything and then just sit back, put your feet up, and let everyone else do the work. I mean, you can,
We're
but
also scared of becoming one of those bosses, those kind of managers as well, right? That we
yeah.
complain about. See, this person, Lipa only, leave all the hard work to everybody else.
that's true as well. So, but what do I know? How do I know which to give to who?
And the bigger question also is, who do you trust to delegate the work to, right? Because
That will complete it.
Yeah, sometimes this don't know whether this person is reliable, whether
Yeah,
he's good
because
at
if
the
they
job.
screw up as the boss, you're the ones that held responsible by your higher ups as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So that's why I think it's important for us to it's once again, it's a skill.
Hmm.
It's a new muscle you have to learn. But one of the first things I learned as when I first got into a management position was you need to learn how to trust people a bit more. 'Cause I have trust issues. I don't trust people.
A
to
lot
do
of
it.
people do.
And I used to have this thinking, and sometimes I still do. If I got to sit here and spend 5 hours teaching you how to do this,
Might as well do it
I'm
myself.
just doing it myself in 5 minutes, right? But if you look at the longer run, you don't want to be doing that.
You need to train them to be able to do
Yeah.
it so that they can take some work
Yeah.
off you.
So what? Oh, we got time. So
Yeah, we do.
So what to delegate are typically things that are you don't want to be doing.
The morning coffee.
Yeah,
the
you know things that are not value added to you. Okay, for one is like doing up spreadsheets,
admin work,
stuff. You know,
yeah.
things that you really want to defocus from, and also things that sometimes if you see an individual who's really good at something, even it's core to you, just hand it over. Let the person have that who has that strength in doing. Just go and do.
Because it'll take them a lot less time to do it than you trying kind of struggling like with a spreadsheet or presentation or anything like that.
Yeah, correct. So like if I'm a sales director, if I just got promoted from sales executive to sales manager, maybe I don't want to do the cold calling anymore. I just I get
Yeah.
my team to go out and do the cold calling. You only pull me in on after you've closed the first
The first part of it, yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Just pull me in. That's what we call being a force multiplier, using your
Okay.
people to
To add more business.
But once
Yeah.
again, that really requires you to be fully aware of what your strengths, of what their strengths are of
And
your
yeah.
team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if you know your team well, then you can know how to delegate what to. Not
Yes.
everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
But typically, the team that you become a leader of are people that you've worked with. Typically, I mean, because
If
you
it's an
move up
internal
and that kind-
promotion, it's true.
Okay, yeah.
But if you get promoted into another company, if you join another company in a more senior role,
then you
suddenly
don't
it's
know.
a new team.
Yeah.
Then you got to start building
That rapport.
Yeah, correct. The understanding and everything. So I think
So the
that's
first
another
things,
skill.
the first things that you would do is to have a meeting and get to know everyone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
On the
And you
get-go.
start off as the friend, as the friendly boss, or you start off which is easier? Should you start off as the angry, I have high expectations boss, or do you start off as the happy hi?
Let's have lunch and let's get to know each other.
You go in.
Okay, I tell you what. Why don't we talk about this on air?
Okay.
Traffic.
Forget you. I guess the change in my pocket wasn't enough. I'm like, forget you and forget her too. Said if I was richer, I'd still be with you. But wait, that's some shit. And although that's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best. But forget you.
Kiss 92 Traffic.
Chotomate kudasai. Let me just do a quick refresh. See, just now we talked about Japan. Now I'm all Japanese.
Yeah, what's happened? Where's Tim O?
I'm Timo O. ECP towards City, heavy traffic after Still Road South. On the SLE towards BKE, vehicle breakdown after Upper Thompson Road exit. PIE towards Changi Airport, vehicle breakdown before Ingnyo. And CTE tunnel towards SLE, an accident has occurred. This is at Merchant Road exit. Not the only accident. AYE towards MCE, one before 114 Portsdown Avenue and on the KJE towards PIE. Accident after BKE entrance.
Okay, dokie. Welcome to The Big Show TV and The Big Show with Angel and your bro Tim O, as well as Adrian Choo from Career Agility International. And we are talking about mistakes that young leaders make. Now, we've already spoken about taking on too much, being a pushover, not delegating. But Tim, you came up with a really interesting one because new leaders are leaders of new teams.
That's right.
Sometimes within the company, sometimes outside of the company. But no matter what, you're in a new position. So you had an interesting sort of perspective.
So you come in, you're getting to know your team, they're getting to know you as well. Your very first impression, or rather, what should their first impression of you be? Should you come in and be the friendly, hi, how are you? I'm going to be your friend. We're going to be wonderful together. Very supportive environment. Kumbawa.
Selfie.
Are we going to, or do you come in as that hard ass, I have high expectations, I expect all of you to do your work?
You know that scene from Full Metal Jacket, the drill sergeant coming into the room, starts scolding everyone, chewing everyone out. Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
But at the same time, because you also want to set expectations as well, right? You want them to know that you should not be taken lightly.
And not a pushover as well, right?
I think a fine balance between the two. But I think what's more important is you have to build rapport at the first instance. I mean, if you really want to, once again, it depends. If it's a non-performing team and you have the ulterior motive.
What do you mean by a non-performing team?
If you're being in charge, if you're being put in charge of a team that's not performing,
right,
and your job is to
whip them into shape.
You're all fired.
Take names and kick ass, right? Then you might want to come in to set expectations. I'm not your friend. We are here to solve it. If you're not going to solve this,
get out.
Yeah, our jobs are on the line.
Yeah.
Not just yours, mine.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to set the tone. So it's very contextual, I would believe. And if you're brought in to take names and kick ass, then you have to do that.
This is why I cannot be
Heads
manager.
are gonna roll.
I'll be like, bro.
Yeah, you cannot.
I cannot bro my
You cannot bro your way through. No, you
But once
cannot.
again, it depends. It's very contextual, But but I always believe in being fair and being friendly.
Yep.
But what I've always found, if you're too friendly to some people, they tend to climb over your head, poop on your head. So you got to be very mindful about it. I think once again, you're not there to be loved.
Yeah.
Leaders are not there to be loved. Leaders are there to perform, to execute. And if your people love your style, I think that's a plus.
Okay, so we're running out of time, but you had 5 points. Just very quickly, if you can touch on 4 and 5. Being goal-centric, not people-focused, and the last one being not asking for advice.
Yeah, so sometimes in your quest to hit the targets and everything, you forget that the people you're in charge of, you have to take care of them as well. So do this, and you realize that, and not everyone may be a workaholic like you, working to 2 a.m. every day. So instead of being too goal-centric and you burn your people out or you piss them off, and then you get what we call organ rejection. You're being put in there, suddenly the whole body just rejects you. So you got to be focused on balancing both the goal as well as the people. And I think most importantly, of all the four, whatever the issues are, if you're a new leader, always never be afraid to ask for help or direction from either the bosses or from your staff. If you don't know how something is being done,
You're new to the company.
You're new to
maybe.
the company.
Yeah.
You're new to the process.
Yeah.
What is this? How do we do? How do you guys do it over here?
Yeah.
Right. Rather
Because
than
you also, at the end of the day, don't want to have that on your head as well, right? When you end up messing up or when things go wrong, then people go, then why you never ask for help?
That's true.
correct.
Yeah. And different work of environments have different cultures as well. So you want to know you're kind of being respectful to everyone who's been
you
there.
need to know the way of working, the culture, the processes, everything else. So just ask. Just ask. It won't make you look stupid if you ask.
Okay. All right. Really interesting stuff on 5 mistakes young leaders make. That was Adrian Choo. If you have any questions at all, info@careeragility.org. All right, Adrian. Thanks. Any final words?
Have a great weekend, guys.
Yay! That's great final words. Okay. That's all we need. Here's a new one with Somber. We Never Dated on Kiss 92.